Hey everyone, it's Megan here from Meghan Makes Do, and today I'm going to show you how to make 3 different cables like what you see here in the Peregrine Tank. So I'm just going to be showing you the basics of how you get these twists and how you make this type of cabling here. So there's a bunch of different terms. I'm going to put those on the screen for you as we go. And I'm just going to be working up a little swatch here, just basically to show you how the cables work. Beyond the little twist row where you actually make the cable, everything else is just knits and purls, so it should be fairly simple. If you are making the Peregrine Tank, this is a great video to watch before you get started. And if you are new to cables and you want to make this tank, you can go ahead and check everything out in the links in the description below. But let's go ahead and get started. For today's tutorial, I'm using the yarn that I used to make the Peregrine Tank, which is Lion Brand's Kobu. It's a really nice DK weight yarn, and it comes in these beautiful chunky cakes. So you'll also need a set of knitting needles. I like to use circulars even though we're working flat. And today I'm using Lantern Moons interchangeables, and I have a US size 4, which is a 3.5 millimeter knitting needle set. You'll also need some cable needles or a locking stitch marker. I'll be honest with you, for my Peregrine Tank, all I used for my cable stitches was a locking stitch marker, but I'm going to show you all the different options that you might have and how that looks making those cable stitches using the different options. These are cable needles, which you just slip the stitches onto your cable needle and can work directly from them. So let's go ahead and get into it. I made up a little swatch here. It's basically like 1/2 of the panels of the Peregrine Tank. And this is just up through this trophy cable here. I've already done a row with the cables. You'll notice that if you're making the tank, every few rows, I think every like 6 rows, you'll have these twists in most of the cables, but every right side row you're going to have to do these type of cabling stitches here. So let's go ahead and we'll get onto it. I'm up to the row where we're going to be making those cable stitches. So to start, I'll do my setup stitches, which are 2 purl stitches. Let's see if I can get my cable or my cord to be out of the way so it's not so noisy. Okay, so now we've hit our first cable. So this is a 4-stitch cable, which means we're going to separate it into 2 sides. So we have our front side and our back side. So 2 stitches will be moved for these cables. So for all of these basic cables, which you have the most of, you're going to be doing a cable for back, which is abbreviated to C4B. And what that means is it's a 4-stitch cable, and you're going to hold those stitches to the back. So the first way I'm going to show you is with just my locking stitch marker. You basically just slip the first 2 stitches onto your stitch marker and hold them at the back of your work. Then we knit the next 2 stitches, and then we're going to put the stitches from our stitch marker back onto our left needle, and then we will knit those 2 stitches. So we're just kind of reversing the order of the stitches when we make cables. So there's our first cable made. Okay, we've got 2 purl stitches in between the cables. And again, we're going to do another cable stitch. This time I'm going to use our cable needle. So what we want to do is, again, we're going to slip those stitches onto our cable needle, and you kind of slide them into the center spot so they don't slide off. Hold it to the back. Knit the next 2 stitches. And then what we can do is we can slide these stitches to the end of our cable needle and knit them right off of the cable needle. So this is a little more finicky than the stitch marker, just because you have 3 needles at once. But you might find that the cable needle gives you more control. I don't know. It's really a personal preference. As long as you're just holding those stitches to the back, those first 2 stitches to the back, you'll be fine. So then here's the 3rd cable 4 back. We're going to use this cable needle this time. This is just a different version of that, but same idea here. Slip those first 2 stitches, hold them into the back, knit the next 2, and then again, slide those stitches down the cable needle, and then you can just knit them off of the cable needle. Ooh, this one's a little bit more slippery since it's metal. Okay. So there we've made 3 cable 4 backs. And now we're going to get into the twisted cables. So you'll see here in this section, we have these nice knit stitches on a background of reverse stockinette. And we're kind of like, they're going to make like a diamond shape. So we use 2 different stitches here, 2 different cable stitches. There's the twist 3 back and the twist 3 front. So when we're working, going like our stitches are leaning towards the right, that's when we want to use the twist 3 back. And if our stitches are leaning to the left, that's when we use the twist 3 front. So you'll see, like, once our diamond kind of comes to the points on the sides, we reverse. So right now I'm doing the twist 3 back here and twist 3 front here, but when I get to those points, I reverse it and I'll do the twist 3 front here and twist 3 back here. But let me show you what those stitches look like. So we basically are purling across until 1 stitch before we hit those knit stitches. And it's worked over 3 stitches, no matter which direction you're going. So here's the 3 stitches for our twist 3 back. We want to take that first stitch off and put it onto a cable needle or my locking stitch marker and hold it to the back. Then we're going to knit the next 2 stitches. And then I'm going to put that stitch back on my left needle, and then you purl the next stitch. So this is the one cable technique that you're using 2 different stitches to make. Okay, then we're going to keep purling across until we get to those knit stitches to make our twist 3 front. Okay, so for the twist 3 front, we're still working across 3 stitches, but we're going to take these first 2 stitches, slide them off of the left needle, and hold them in the front. Then we purl the next stitch, I'm going to put those stitches back on, or if you used a cable needle, you can just work directly from that, and then you're going to knit those 2 stitches that you held in the front. So we're basically with this, the purl stitches are moving towards the inside, and then when we get to the point where those lines are decreasing to make the top diamond, then we're removing those purl stitches out. But basically cables is just switching your stitches around. So just switching their places in line. That's really basically all it is. So now we're going to purl across, and then one more time I will show you the cable 4 back. That's the most common cable stitch that you're going to see in the Peregrine Tank. So again, slip 2 off, hold them in the back, knit the next 2 stitches, put them back onto your left needle. So we're just those 4 stitches are all just switching places. And then knit those stitches. And then we have 2 purl stitches before our trophy cable. And our trophy cable is made up of a cable 8 back and a cable 8 front. And it's a little hard to see right here since I don't have the ribbing like you normally do. But what we're going to do, I'm actually going to use the cable needle for this one since there's a little more stitches. We want to, so if it's an 8 stitch cable, divide that in half, we're going to move 4 stitches. And this is made the same every single time. You do the cable 8 back and then a cable 8 front. So I'm going to slip 4 stitches off onto my cable needle. And I'm going to hold those at the back of my work. Then we're going to knit the next 4 stitches. And then we are going to knit those 4 stitches that we held at the back off of our cable needle. And this always, I feel like the more stitches that you have to take off, the more finicky and fidgety it can be when making cables. So make sure you take your time and hold on to all those stitches. It can be a little painful if you drop any, but we're just knitting those 4 stitches off of our cable needle. And we've done our first side of our trophy cable. So immediately after the cable 8 back, we're going to do a cable 8 front, which is just basically the opposite of what we did. So we still slip those 4 stitches off onto our cable needle, but this time we're going to hold those stitches to the front of our work. So then we're going to knit the next 4 stitches. And then we're going to knit the stitches off of the cable needle. And I only have 2 stitches left on my needle, but you won't have this issue when you're making the Peregrine Tank because you'll have a lot more. So I'm just going to kind of slide those down my needle so I don't lose them while I knit off of the cable needle. Okay, this always makes me a little nervous. I feel like the front one is a little bit more difficult than the back one, but then we just knit those 4 stitches off of our cable needle. Whew, we did it. And now we're going to purl those last 2 stitches. Okay, here we go. And we've done our cable row. Okay, so now that you've seen all of these cable stitches in action, I'm gonna work up a couple more rows just so you can see what they look like as you go. So you can kind of see these cables a little bit better over here that I've already worked some. But the nice thing about the Peregrine Tank is on the back for the wrong side, you're just basically wherever it looks like a knit stitch, you'll knit. Wherever it looks like a purl stitch, you'll purl. So that's pretty easy, but there's about, I think, 5 rows in between each cable. So every 6th row, and you're always going to work those cable stitches on the right side. So I'm going to go ahead and work up a few rows just so you can see what it will look like as you go. Okay, so I worked up a few more rows and now we're back to our next twisted, like these twisty cable rows, and we've hit the point in our V. So on this next row, what I would do is the same cable stitches here. Here's where I'm going to make that switch and do the twist 3 front on this side and twist 3 back on that side to start eliminating those purl stitches from the center. And again, same cable stitches here and here as before, but here you can kind of see how they start to look as you go. We get these nice twists here in all of our cable rows. So those are the basic cable stitches that you'll be using in the Peregrine Tank. You can use these cable stitches in any of your pieces that you'd like if you're making things on your own. But I hope that you found this tutorial helpful. As always, you can find links to the pattern and the yarn used and materials used in the description below. And you can check out the free pattern for the Peregrine Tank over on my blog. So thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.